Reacting live to an Orisa rework someone in my community sent me. If you want to send me your own rework ideas, the link to my Discord is down below. You should check it out. Okay, I have not seen this yet, but let's talk about what I think is wrong with Orisa. So the problem with Orisa, in my opinion, really boils down to Fortify. Just being like basically uninteractable for seconds at a time. Because, you know, just basically she just doesn't do anything. It's another ability that's just like, all it is timing, right? If the timing is good, there's nothing anyone else can do about it. There's no counterplay really to it. It's just really uninteractive, and Fortify needs a lot more work to make Orisa feel good when she is meta. I think the rest of her kit is honestly pretty fine. Like, I don't think Orisa needs a full rework, in my opinion. Just a couple of changes. So let's see what this person thinks. I don't know if they agree with that necessarily. So, I want to make Orisa more dynamic and give her more opportunities to be aggressive. I think that's a good thing. This rework is also heavily inspired by this interaction. Okay. It's between Tracer and Orisa. Tracer says, "You're not exactly built for speed, Orisa. How do you catch someone who's running away?" Orisa, "I will provide a demonstration. Start running." Oh, it's that one. I will moving Orisa away from her wall-like playstyle and converting her into a pursuer. Okay. Goals. Make Orisa less tanky and frustrating to shoot. Give Orisa the ability to move freely around the map so she can take cover or pursue opponents and take space. Excuse me. Reduce her hard CC so she is less oppressive to enemy tanks. I will say that I think Orisa tank countering with the CC at least is overblown. I think Orisa counters tanks because of Fortify. Because they just can't interact with her or move her or do any of the stuff that would cause a tank to not have space anymore. The CC is much more skillful and thoughtful against tanks. So I don't think CC really needs that much changing, at least, you know, in relation to tanks. I think it's Fortify that really all the problems start. So new passive, Colossal Weight. While fortified, so she still is fortified. If you are traveling over 7 meters per second, you will gain an air displacement. You will gain an air displacement cone around you in the direction you are traveling. The air displacement cone will increase based on the speed you travel. Minimum 2.5 meters for in-game size. At 7 meters per second and a maximum 5 meters at 35 meters per second. When you hit someone with the air displacement cone, you'll do 40 damage and apply the crippled status effect to them for 3 seconds. Okay, hold on. Air displacement cone. Are you saying like they shoot up into the air if you hit them? Or is it like in front of, they like get knocked around if you hit them while you're traveling? The air displacement cone will increase based on the speed you traveled. I think it knocks them up. I think that's what they're saying. It knocks them out, deals damage, and applies crippled. Crippled is when you are below half HP, you are unable to activate movement abilities. Whoa. Will not cancel abilities currently in use. When you are below half HP, you're unable to activate movement abilities. That's a status effect. It's like, it's hard CC, but it's much more conditional. Well, it's like hindered, but you're low. I guess it's not that bad. And Ori can't just apply it at random. She has to like do it properly. We'll see what the rest of the thing looks like. Honestly, I don't think that's a terrible status effect. It sounds bad at first, but it's really tame compared to other CC. Primary fire. The projectile's damage and speed are 13 damage and 100 meters per second. They start reducing in damage and speed after 25 meters to 7. Yeah, I think reducing her range a little bit is probably a good thing. Overheat mechanic remains. That's good. I'm definitely down for Ori not to be able to do as much damage at range. And they actually even slow down, which is going to be really weird to think about. Energy Javelin. Remove stun from Javelin, but add interruption. Will cancel channeled abilities. So it can't outright cancel anything, but if it's an ability that hasn't started yet, like it's in the wind-up animation, it'll cancel that. Reduce damage from direct impact to 50 from 60 and remove wall collision damage. So it's going to do way less damage. Pressing the enemy energy javelin again will launch you to your javelin's current position, 30 meters per second. Oh, so you launch at them and then you set up the colossal impact. The thrown spear disappears after 3 seconds after it collides with the player or wall. So Ori is going to be launching at you. So that's where the damage from the wall impact is going to come back from. Okay, I'm down. I'm here. I'm listening to what you're saying. The only thing I don't really like here is that javelin can't. It's not that it can't stun anymore. It's the fact that it has a the interruption. I feel like that's just going to feel weird to be like, I can cancel an ultimate before, like I can cancel Queen ult before, like while she's casting it, while she's stuck in position, but I can't cancel it while she's like halfway done with it while she's moving. To me, that just doesn't feel, that feels really weird. That feels really weird to me. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think either keep it as it is, which I would say keep it, or just remove it in general. Maybe if you removed it in general, that'd be fine. Because she has all this extra stuff now, and she's about to be able to cripple. So, I would say just remove it. Javelin Spin acts as it does now. Good. I think Javelin Spin is perfectly fine. Nothing to say about that. Fortify can now last up to 4 seconds, up from 3, and can be canceled after using it for 0.25 seconds. The cooldown of Fortify will be equal to 4 times the time you used it. Okay, hold on. 4 times the time you used it, plus 3. Oh, with a maximum cooldown of 19 seconds and a minimum of 4. While fortified, gravity will affect Orisa 2.5% more. Okay. That's not really how gravity works, but I get what you're going for. I understand. I'm with you. Don't worry. Orisa retains her 20% movement speed penalty, although it only affects her walking speed and is disabled when using Javelin Spin. Fortify no longer gives Orisa overhealth. Fortify is unchanged apart from these changes. So basically, this is just your tool to activate Colossal. And I know it does all the other stuff that it does. The cooldown stuff, that's really interesting. 19 seconds, though, I don't think it has enough power to... What's it called? What's it called? I don't think it has enough power to justify this. I think maybe like 15 seconds more, because now it doesn't have overhealth, and the cooldown of Fortify, yeah, it doesn't have overhealth anymore. And I will say, I am a little concerned about the speed. The only thing that, yeah, I guess like Energy Javelin, she can like pull herself to it, and that's like her big movement. Okay, never mind. I'm not, never mind. So her survivability is going to come through movement. So I think Fortify doesn't need, honestly, it doesn't need to have that big of a cooldown since she has so much movement potential, on a 7-second cooldown. Perhaps it doesn't even have to do as much damage reduction either. The only thing I would say is I think you can remove the movement penalty while she's walking. I think that's fine. I think your idea is that you don't want people to just like, what's it called? Just to like bump in and Colossal just while they're walking. You have to like be able to do something like Javelin Spin. But okay, maybe never mind. I think that's probably fine. This is interesting. I mean, like this is interesting. I like the idea of a cooldown that has like a variable amount of time depending on how long you use it. I think that's a really interesting concept. Halt. Orisa fortifies for 3 seconds and gains 150 overhealth. She then will launch... This is ult, by the way. She then will launch a Graviton Charge that slows and pulls nearby enemies to it, similar to the Overwatch 1 pull ability. Travel speed 30 meters per second after traveling 25 meters. Hitting a wall or an enemy, it will detonate. It then pulls all enemies in Orisa. And Orisa to the center at 35 meters per second. Oh, so it can combo with the Colossal, right? It will deal a third of players' health when they reach the center and release them. Enemies should get hit by her passive. they should cause cripple to be active if they have 250 or less max HP. Okay. Orisa fortifies for 3 seconds and gains 150 over health. She then will launch a graviton charge. She launches it that slows and pulls nearby enemies to it. So she fires the halt. Okay. Huh. Okay, that's interesting because it's like there's still like it's not like what's it called? Via More, whatever it's called right now, Terra Surge, where it's just they have to be in the radius of it, that they actually do have to hit the halt ability and then she can travel at it, right? Yeah, it will hit a wall and it will detonate. It then pulls all enemies in a reset to the center. So it's going to pull a reset to it no matter what. So she could just use this as an extra movement ability too. Um, okay, before I get into the conclusion, this is really interesting. I think you got to be really careful with something like this, with like Orisa being like a truck that can just like run at you. But I do like this in theory, and I think the weaknesses are that, you know, her movement is up, but her survivability in terms of sustain is really down. She gets to keep her javelin spin and her spear pretty much the same. Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to go like a full-on Ori rework, I think this is a cool direction to go. Um, Although there's a lot to it, and it could in theory be a little confusing. But let's see the conclusion. These changes will hopefully bring Orisa into a more supportive rushdown playstyle. She can use her movement abilities to apply crippled and support her team while they can kill these more vulnerable enemies. She still has the ability to be very tanky, but at a very heavy cooldown cost. So you're more encouraged to use it briefly for offense or defense. The javelin throw, spin, and fortifies fall speed increase will allow her to activate her passive and give her a lot of offensive options. As always, the numbers might be too high or too low, but hopefully this allows Orisa to be more aggressive. Yeah, I think when she's traveling to things like Halt or the Spear, it doesn't really, in my mind, it doesn't really make sense. This is honestly, this is my one problem. It just doesn't make sense logically that Orisa would be like flying through the air. Either I think she would need to like jump for it, or just like charge up and just move really fast on the ground. So maybe jumping for it, like have an animation like that, where when she's gonna get pulled to something, she like does a big leap. Something like that. It's just like you also got to make sure that you want to make sure that the characters like communicate properly what they're doing, and also it just looks better and feels better when the animations and things match up. But yeah, I don't think Ori needed this many changes, but like this is a cool idea and maybe a cool kind of concept for another tank hero. So yeah, thank you so much for sending it in. I think this was a good one. I think this one's really interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, if you have your own rework ideas, that's my Discord. It's linked down below. If you like this video, there's plenty more like it on my YouTube channel. If you wouldn't mind giving me a like, comment, subscribe, it does really help me out. I do really appreciate it. And if you want to get in on these discussions live every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, that's going to be twitch.tv/Lane Hemingway. I try to do some kind of discussion every single time I go live. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day.